This is Talking My Walking. I am Rodrigo Ribeiro, just another voice in the wilderness. Today I'm going to talk about money as a medium of exchange, as a unit of account, as store of value, and as power distribution / concentration. Capitalism is a system that where people can use wealth to produce more wealth, which means capital. Capital can be land, can be tools, can be knowledge, can be many things, as long as it's used to produce more wealth, to generate profits. But is money capital or not? Yes, it is. In a financialized economy, not only in a financialized economy, but especially in a financialized economy, money is definitely a form of capital. Use money to make more money, and that's it. And that should be in moral terms a sin, because money is not a thing. That is true. You can have things such as precious metals, for example gold, to be used as money, but gold itself is the representation of an abstract or of a concept. And that concept, like any concept of law, it needs, like any concept of freedom, of whatever it is, it needs to be protected by law. It needs to have to be backed by a state. If you have sovereign money, it is your own state, it is your own law, it is your own institutions that back and give value to that money, to that unit of account. If you do not have a sovereign money, or then it's that power is in the hands of somebody else. Like in the case of the European Union, that gave the control of money, of the issuance of money, of the control of the monetary system to a foreign entity, for an entity that we don't even know what it is, because we know what it is. It is an entity that is not controlled by the sovereign countries, but it is controlled by big capital, by the institutions that have the power to influence the decisions that are taken by the central bank, the ECB. This is not what I'm going to talk about, anyways. Capitalism is a system that is based on inequality. It is a system that we have a legal, we have institutions and legal systems that authorize the accumulation of money, of capital. Okay, not the same thing. Money and capital is not the same thing, but money can. That's a point that I want to make. Money and capital are not the same thing, but money can be used as capital. Therefore, we have a system where the more money you have, the more opportunities you have. And why? Because you can always have more bargaining power. So the ones with lower bargaining power, and this, when I'm talking about bargaining power, it's economically, politically, culturally, and anything in between. So it is unequal by nature, by creation, not by nature, by creation. Because we are talking about a system that doesn't exist, that has to be created by us, that has to have institutions and legal codes and states backing it. For those of us, for the majority of us, that do buy into the ability of capitalism to create wealth, which is true, and to produce and to stimulate ingenuity, it is true also. But why is it true? It is true because when we put people, when we have a system that is based on the accumulation of wealth, and in the other end manufacture scarcity, that means that most of us don't have any other chance but either try to go to school to get a degree in something and eventually start a business or get a good job and become some and climb the socioeconomic ladder. Or if you are not inclined to study, it doesn't mean that you are not intelligent. Okay, never. Don't allow others. Don't allow. This is a very important point. If you think that these people from the Ivy League universities, the so-called ivory towers, and these people are authorities, and what they say, what they write, that you have to take it as the truth, or at least as close to the truth as humanly possible. That's not true. That's not true because of many reasons. But an important one is wealth. Is the pursuit of self-interest. Is this idea in capitalism that everything and everyone is up to can be bought, is up to sale. And if you and this is widely accepted. This is widely accepted that we as people, we need to look for a job. And who are the job creators? The entrepreneurs. The ones that use wealth to create more wealth, which means capital, to generate wealth, okay, to accumulate more wealth, to generate more capital, and this, so forth and so on. And we all understand wealth. I mean, as something I think something natural. We just get it. I mean, it is very, money as a unit of account. Normal money is a facilitator. Is a concept. It's a tool. It's a legal tool or a legal medium that, or a legal tool or a legal mechanism that allows us to that can be used as a medium of exchange and facilitates our lives. Okay. And as a unit of account, because basically we have a debt-based system. We need that. That's basically what capitalism is, a debt-based system. And this is a problem because, I mean, money doesn't need to be created out of that. The money doesn't need to be created as that. Money can be created by the state as a means to pay for what is needed and doesn't need interest. Interest is just another form of wealth accumulation in the hands of those that create, that control, especially privately, the ability to create money through credit debt. Most of us do not understand it like that. Don't understand that when you go to a bank, they do not lend money. They create credit. That's new money created plus interest that enters into circulation. Therefore, people need to produce more wealth, always more and more wealth, because there is the need to pay the principal plus the interest. And if we take in account the compound interest, then I think it's at 7% of interest in 15 years. I think it's like, I'm not sure what I'm saying is correct. The debt doubles. So this is an absolutely crazy system that has been normalized and naturalized, and we don't even perceive it as evil when in fact it is the reason, one of the reasons, not the single one, but one of the reasons why we have so much unnecessary suffering across the global south, what we now call the global south, in Africa, in Asia, in many places, and to allow the concentration. I mean, again, think about money as a medium of distribution / concentration of power. While a few institutions, a handful of big banks, and the central, you have the bees in Switzerland, and you have institutions like the IMF and the World Bank and others, that basically are imperialist institutions, in this case to serve the imperial core, which is the United States of America, and the satellites also, but especially the imperialist core, at the expenses of everyone else. And this is why, even in the rich countries, in these European social democracies, there is the need for poverty. There is always 10-20% of poverty, and people left behind, because this is exactly the system is supposed to work. And whatever this capitalist class gives us when they are under pressure or menace, as they did during the period of during the existence of the Soviet Union, when so many countries, the big countries in Europe, there was communism. You know why communism was a thing, and you know why? This communism was basically the major force, not the only one, but the major force, organized force, against fascism and Nazism. That's why capitalists don't hate fascists, they like fascism. Fascism is, as it is the last, is not the last, but is the tool that when liberalism doesn't work, okay, when the liberal, like these freedoms and this and that and blah blah blah, democracy and that, they know that's why I call liberals in general lib fascists, because they do not they have a lib facade, but at the core they are fascists, because fascism is the system that replaces liberalism when liberalism is not anymore cannot anymore control the masses, because liberalism is to control the masses through propaganda, through weapons of mass deception, okay, division, tribalization, atomization, and instrumentalization, in many forms of instrumentalizing people and weaponizing values and this and that. While fascism is brute force. That's it. Don't care. We use violence to control you. So, we have this illusion of money as a thing, as I said, even when we have when money in the form, that's why the so-called gold bucks is just a stupid idea. You have gold, but gold is only accepted because we give it value, because it doesn't rust, it can last forever, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. So it can be used as money, but money needs to be understood as something that only exists because of our ability as a cultural thing, as part of the virtual world, as that only exists because of our ability to understand these ideas. Because money is an idea. And as any other ideas or value systems or belief systems only have power. They acquire power only through being backed by law, okay, codified into law, and when they are backed by the power of the state, by the state as the institution, as the mechanism that has the monopoly of using violence to impose an order, a socioeconomic, sociocultural, sociopolitical order. And a socio-political order that is controlled by a socio-economic group called capitalist class, which has the control of the socio-economic structures, okay, and institutions like academia, like media, like the public relations, industrial, military, the public relations industry. In the case of America, Hollywood, which is basically a CIA cutout, okay? That's what Hollywood is. It's not only that, okay? Hollywood is more than that. It's more diversified. But in the end, Hollywood functions as a CIA cutout to spread the ideas, to frame the reality in a way that is favorable to the deep state. To the people and the institutions and organizations and corporations and banking, that really have the control and the ability to use the permanent bureaucracy to impose it domestically and at the global level. While we, the people, the ones doing the work, producing the stuff, are convinced that that our job is to concentrate ourselves in our careers, in the pursuit of self-interest, and if we do that, everything will work well. We don't have to care about equality. We don't have to care about power distribution. But that's exactly the point. Money is either a form, a way, a tool of a medium that helps to distribute power, not only buying power, not only purchasing power, but political power, social power, sociocultural and sociopolitical power. We do not understand that the more unequal the society becomes, the more precarious is your life, the more anxious and uncertainty, the more alienated, the more disconnected, the more the more you engage in self-destructive behaviors, of course, some or we become much more vulnerable to be seduced by people that promise us to regenerate society, to bring back the family values, the American way of life, the stability that was once, and the freedoms and this and that and so forth and so on, that were being robbed, stripped from us by immigrants. Yeah. Yes. By, whatever it is. And then this is exploited because the more society is tribalized and divided and polarized and atomized, the less, we don't have any chance of uniting and organizing to challenge power concentration as wealth concentration. This is a symbiotic relationship. Never think about money or about billionaires as a social thing, It's just these guys, they are part of the Fortune 500, or they just, this is the guys that own private jets and big yachts and, and this and that and so forth and so on. And don't look at them as celebrities. Don't look at them as, look at them as what they really are. They have in their hands political, economic, and cultural power. They have the ability to influence politics, to redesign institutions, to own all the tools, mechanisms, organizations that have the power to that are the ones that have that control the instruments of the perception management. And while we live in illusion of freedom, of personal freedoms. What is personal freedom? If you don't understand the reality, if you don't understand the reality if you don't understand the roots of your problems, if you blame people that are just like you, they just have a different perception of things, because that's how it is. If there is choice, okay, as we believe, and our ideas is also just part of that choice. It's nothing to do with our life experience, with what kind of cultural, ideological frames we have been exposed, and our family. So many things together that then they make us be more have a tendency towards more conservative or more progressive or more this or more that. And do you think about that as freedom? Freedom of thought is not that. Is not our ability to believe that everything we believe it has been a choice. No, it has not. Everything is a process. It's not a choice. And we live in systems. You know, we live in a reality that is not that is alive. Is alive outside and becomes alive inside as part of our mental life or of the life of our minds. And that is very little about our freedom of choice and freedom of thought and freedom of this and freedom of that. And you know why? Because freedom of thought needs to be trained. Do you train it? Do you understand the mechanisms by which so many institutions and organizations and corporations and think tanks and academia and so many other organizations in the media, they have the knowledge, they have the tools, they have the money, again. They have everything that is available, scientific knowledge, technological instruments or mediums to influence how you perceive not only the reality, but how you perceive yourself. How you perceive what capitalism is or it is not. And you perceive money. And you live in the delusion that there are opportunities that you might have an opportunity too. Okay? That if people have, if people make it, if they become rich, or if they work hard and this and that, and so they deserve what they have accumulated. It's not the problem of merit, it's the problem that the reason why we become successful is because there are rules that allow certain activities, certain methods, certain whatever to be acceptable and others not. You have the right and the freedom to comply, but you don't have the right or the freedom to resist. Because if you look for a job and you desperately need that job, you are not supposed to get the job and analyze what you are doing, how useful it is for society, how destructive it is, how, all the things that should be part of our freedoms as citizens of a country and as human beings that are in the exercise of our critical abilities, that we should, if we need a job and you look around you and what you are doing because you are desperate for the money, because you live in a situation, you live in a system that is based on manufactured scarcity. and you don't even understand it many times. That is not natural. It is manufactured. It requires the encirclement of the commons. It requires that capital is codified into law in ways that allow that favors certain activities in detriment of others, favors certain people, certain professional categories in detriment of others. So there is no such thing as a level playing field. There is only inequality. And the ability of these people to instigate us against each other, to divide, to conquer, to divide, to control. And this is why money as store of value is very problematic. And this is because it is about power distribution / accumulation. And if we do not understand this, if we think about money as a neutral, is something, is a tool, that is that we just if we are smart, if we are hardworking, if we are diligent, if we are this and that, if we are entrepreneurs, and if we have very innovative ideas and this and that, we will have the possibility to become rich, while others are losers because they don't have what it takes to be achievers. It's so wonderful. That is very fair. Is a fair system. A fair system based in inequality. That's the moral. That's the moral lesson, I guess. Inequality is fair because it's based on the myth of meritocracy, which is basically the weaponization of merit. Merit exists. Nobody wants to say that merit doesn't exist. But meritocracy is not about merit. It's the weaponization of merit. To use it as a tool, as a weapon against, to tell people stories about inequality, how fair inequality is. When we start to begin with, that the system that we don't even understand, and this is to me crucial. There are so many things that we need to know, but we start by believe that is fair. We believe it is fair that money that could be created, that is created out of nothing, money that is backed by the state, because it needs to be backed by law and the ability of the state to impose a certain order by force. Okay? And this money that can be created out of nothing, okay, doesn't require resources, or requires very, very little resources. And it should be used to for productive means, which means that it should be used by the state to create the money to invest it in schools and roads and other forms, and even for private through public banking, that people could have access to money for whatever they need the money for, productive purposes, not for speculative purposes. Never. Don't you understand that using money for speculative purposes is exactly the point, that is capital, that using money as wealth to create more wealth. So money becomes, in speculative terms, becomes a tool to produce more wealth. Nothing else, not to produce anything useful to society, just to give more concentration of power in the hands of the few. So if we don't understand that money could be created by the government, by the state, into existence without interest, you don't understand the burden that interest puts in all of us. You know, in all society, and not only in society. Interest is a evil force. Behind it, behind this debt-based system, privately controlled, is why we need to grow and grow and grow, and look and become more destructive and more exploitative, and the system needs to expand and to extract more. And we just, what are we as human beings? What are we? Is it part of our freedoms, the freedom to resist stupid shit jobs, to resist evil, destructive, like engaging in wars? Manufactured scarcity is why they can use us as cannon fodder. That's why they make us, the poor, to look for an opportunity in the military, because of the benefits that eventually they are available if you serve your country. While many of us that are going to serve the country, like in America and other places, are the newcomers, which means that are sometimes they have the skin color of those that have been and are being massacred by capitalism for the accumulation or more capital. As an imperialist force that needs this imperial military interventions. So money, I think we should not take money as something that exists and that's all. We all need to understand money in a deep, holistic way. We need not to understand what it is. We need to understand how it works, who benefits with the existing monetary, fiscal, banking, and financial system at the national level and at the global level. If we believe that these new forms of money, this blockchain, blah, 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 and all the rest is something different, and no, it's not. It's the same, it's part of the same system that doesn't care at all about most of us. It's not to make our lives better. It's more exclusive. We just are more and more left behind. And the more technological societies become, the less they need us. What should they care about us? They don't even need us as cheap labor. They need a certain amount of us. They still need people as cheap labor, slave labor. But but the more robotized and digitalized the society is, the less of us they need. Why they should care about us if the system is not a redistributive system, but it is about, if money is about a power concentration, not power distribution, why they should care about us if we politically are, economically and politically are just expendable. What else can I say? I know there is a lot to say, but today I'm going to finish it here. Thanks for listening. I will be back soon.